Today I want to talk about Ukrainian Nazis and why I think they're a bunch of idiots, bunch of dum-dums. For starters, let's talk about their patriarch, Stefan Bandera. So who was Stefan Bandera? Yes, he was a patriot of Ukraine that wanted to see Ukraine independent from Russia and Poland and other powers. But he was also an ally of the Axis. No, actually not an ally. He was an askari of the Axis. So what is an askari? Askari is what we Ethiopians and other Africans used to call African soldiers that used to fight for the colonial powers. So these are pawns that fought against their own brothers for the colonial powers, even though they weren't treated as equal either. So same thing with Stefan Bandera. And in World War II, there were many askaris. The British had the Indian askaris fight for them. The French had like African askaris fight for them. The Japanese had Chinese and Korean askaris fight for them. Even though they looked at them as subhumans, they fought for them. And same with the Germans as well. They had many askaris, one of them being Stefan Bandera. So this is not a guy that sat equal with Hitler, Mussolini, and Tojo. He never even met those people, or even the Wehrmacht commanders. No, this is a guy they told what to do, and he didn't do it, so they put him in a concentration camp. And later on in life, he fought against them as well. And to see how ruthlessly the colonial powers treated the askaris, one has to only look at the Tiahoye massacre in Senegal, where French African troops were killed by their colonial masters because they wanted equal pay as their white counterparts and back pay as well. So who would put an askari as the patriarch of their country? Is it India? No, they had many askaris serve the British Empire, but no, that's not who they put as their patriarch or as a hero of their country who they built statues to. No, they built the statues and celebrate Mahatma Gandhi, who fought peacefully against the British Empire. And neither do we Africans as well. We don't remember our askaris. I don't remember any askari. I know, we remember the rebels, Omar Mokhtar, Sekou Toure, Haile Selassie, Robert Mugabe, Nelson Mandela. All these people fought against the colonial powers. And this is how we remember, this is who we remember, not the askaris. Furthermore, it's not just bad they put an askari as the patriarch of their country, they also adopt the ideology of the masters of the askari as well, which is the Nazi ideology. Now, to see why it is stupid for Ukrainians to adopt Nazi ideology, let's read what Hitler had to say about Ukrainians and Slavs in general. Well, just to read a little bit. The Slavs are a mass born of slaves who feel the need of a master. The Russian spaces are India, like the English. We shall rule the empire with a handful of men. It would be a mistake to claim to educate the natives. The Slav people are not destined to live a cleanly life. It's better not to teach them to read. Even to give them a locomotive to drive, it would be a mistake. We'll supply the Ukrainians with scarves, glass beads, and everything colonial-like. We'll let the Russian town fall to pieces. Let them know just enough to understand the highway signs so they won't get themselves run over by vehicles. This is our only duty. The German is to this country by immigration of Germans and to look upon the natives as redskins. I have no feelings about the idea of wiping out Kyiv, Moscow, or St. Petersburg. Or this one is actually a kicker. We will take the southern Ukraine, especially the Crimea, and make it exclusively a German colony. There will be no harm in pushing out the population there now. The German colonists will live on handsome, spacious farms. What exists 30 to 40 kilometers out will be another world in which the Russians' remnants will live. So, why adopt an ideology where you're looked at as subhuman, Untermensch? That's why Hitler and other Nazis looked at the Slavs, Untermensch. And why would the Azov battalion or any of, Yevgeny Karas and etc. look at Nazi ideology as a suitable ideology for Ukrainians? A great example to exemplify the confusion of Ukrainian Nazis is this video.
Artillery. With all this arsenal, the Russian military power, their imperialistic appetites will be stopped. And there will be no more threat to the world, to the free world, to which I'm talking right now. There will be no threat to you, to us. Because right now, Ukraine not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for the freedom. Thank you.
Ask my accountant about that.
Really, motherfucker? That's what Nazism is about? Fighting for liberal democracy? Fighting for freedom, the free world. Actually, I reject that moniker, actually, the free world. Actually, I don't know what that means. But yeah, if you're talking about liberal democracy, that's not what fucking Nazism was about, man. That's not what Hitler was about, or Nazism. It's about Aryan supremacy. The people that sang Deutschland über alles, Germany over all. It's not about living a free world with white people and black people coming together, living in a free democracy. That's not what it's all about, all right? See, this is what I'm talking about. These people are confused. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He doesn't even know the ideology he's following and he's fighting and dying for. So, these people remind me of, this white girl I used to know back in high school. And, we went to the swimming pool together and, she took off her shirt, bikini and stuff. And, I saw a swastika. She was tattooed. And she was like, oh, no, I said, I'm not a Nazi. Just, we went out to the tattoo shop and everybody was getting it. Or, or a band. Actually, no, I used to know a band in high school that had called Genocide. And they had it, he had it tattooed on his knuckles. So this reminds me of those kind of people, the people that get tattoos, they don't even know what the fuck it's all about. And, people are young mostly, or even adults, they get tribal tattoos, they don't know what the fuck it is, or in Chinese or in Japanese, and means something else. So this is what it reminds me of. This guy's wearing is that the wolf symbol or I don't know, whatever it is. It's a Nazi symbol he's wearing on his uniform, and part of the Azov battalion. A Nazi battalion, and he's talking about fighting for the free world and etc. So he doesn't even know what he's fighting for. So this is what reminds me of, people wearing, getting tattoos and they don't know what it is about. So I would hope, unlike my high school back in the day, that if people would grow up and they choose an ideology to kill other people and to fight and die for, that they would at least know what the ideology is about. But apparently not, because, and it's a sad thing, because it's a grown man and he doesn't know what what ideology he's fighting and dying for. He's confused. He thinks it's about freedom and liberty. That's what Nazism is about. And it just shows you, most people are lost, most adults are lost, in this global capitalism world. Most people are lost. They don't know they don't know their identity, because capitalism or this global world we live in, it doesn't give you sexual actualization, doesn't give you identity, and etc. Or the school systems don't give you that either. So, and many people are just thrown outside, thrown asunder. And this is a good example of Ukraine. Came out of the collapse of the Soviet Union, poverty, and etc. And people didn't know their identity, and they just chose something. They had what it's all about, which is which hates Slavic people and is counter to even their identity, So it just shows me. It reminds me of when I watched the documentary of those white kids, trying to be black and trying to be gangster and stuff like that, because they don't have the identity either, because the adults are lost, they're lost. And really, it's a sad world, man. People are lost, and they just fall into whatever ideology comes by. It's militaristic and gives them a purpose. Anyway.
Lived in a fantasy that he was a big gangster.
If you're asking me if I felt threatened in Derek Barnstable's presence, yes.
I heard him say several times that he would give up his life for Derek.
He put a gun up to my head and just started singing, rapping to this tune, and he would just go nuts.
Wanted to know everything he could about the Crips and the Bloods. This was the only thing that ever gave this kid a sense of power in his whole life.
This is for my homies. This is for my homies. Well, see you when I get there. In that gangster lean,
This song's dedicated to my homies in that gangster lean. Mitch from NSG, my boy Quick, and my boy LD. And whoever else out there got a homie that's in that gangster lean. And us my boys in the pen, and they never see the street again. Cause you know what? It don't matter what they was doing while they was here. They could have been banging or slanging, but they ain't here no more. Somebody's dead. That's somebody's baby.
And it's not even just tied with white people and Nazism. This can happen to any group of people. Any young people any young men that don't know their purpose in life, that have been left alone by the system, that have been torn asunder by the system. Forgotten people. these people would fall in for these kind of ideologies, and they're even what they're fighting for. And as we can see, actually, in this, I want to show you a video of this Colombian volunteer that's going to Ukraine. They ask him, "Hey," he's not a Nazi, he's Colombian, but anyway, but they ask him, "Hey, why are you going to fight in Ukraine?" He's like, "I don't know, I don't know, I lost my job, it's adrenaline, basically he doesn't know." And there's also footages of ISIS fighters that were captured as well. Many years later, they were like, "Hey, what do you fight for?" About ISIS. I made a mistake. I don't know what I was fighting for. Just now I know after I went in there, how bad the ideology is. As I said, grown men lost, in this world. So grown men and women. But yeah.
Why am I taking this risk? Poof. I often ask myself that and don't have an answer. I think it's also the excitement, the adrenaline. It's a chance to prove myself. I think about it constantly and feel nervous. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't afraid. But with this fear comes adrenaline.
So this is a message to all the young white political activists or militant people out there. For fuck's sakes, leave the Nazi ideology and symbols alone and try to create something new. Whatever, situation you're in, why always go to Nazism? Whether it's poverty in Greece, whether it's, fighting against Russia and Ukraine, and et cetera, why always go to Nazism? Just let that fucking ideology die, man. I mean, I understand the appeal of fascism, and even till this day, I don't know what the fuck it's all about, but even on YouTube, they have why the Nazi fashion is so good. There's a couple of videos like that. And I actually think that the Nazis actually were actually tapped into something very dark, since they were occultists. And that is one of the attractiveness about them. But I suggest that, people would leave that fucking bullshit alone, just, create new ideologies, new symbols, whatever, for whatever political activist group you're in, And lastly, I would say if you're going to, this is just for everybody, I would say that if you're going to volunteer and go fight or join a group or anything like that, do your fucking research, man. Don't just fucking, wear symbols and go join somebody to fight just because, spur of the moment or you watch the video or anything like that. Do your fucking research. Read books, Don't just, adopt the Nazi insignia and say, "Oh, we're fighting for the free world, man." Don't be a fucking dumbass like that. What else? That's about it, man. And that's my video. Bye.